So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Omar. I'll be your moderator today. I hope everyone is, done and dusted with the post-lunch syndrome. So let's get this stretch, just before the gala dinner tonight. And let me set the scene before I call on my guests. So the Paris Olympics proved that one can stage a global mega event with far lower emissions and far more inclusion. The Paris organizers reported 55% fewer carbon emission versus past editions by maximizing existing venues, temporary builds, and low carbon operations. It also became the first gender-equal Olympics and opened the field to citizens with the Marathon World 2, reaffirming community participation and legacy. Even the River Seine opening ceremony rewrote broadcast, security, and city as a venue playbook for future hosts. For this next 20 minutes, the conversation will unpack what worked, what didn't, and models for many events and games ahead. Please join me in welcoming my guests, Christophe Decloux, CEO of the Choose Paris region, and Pierre Rabadan, President, Paris Je T'aime, Deputy Mayor, Paris Olympics, Paralympic Games, Sport, and Seine. So we have a short 20-minute session. We're going to dive right into it and make it interesting for everyone. And Christophe, I'm going to start with you. As the operator promoting the Paris region globally, why do mega events matter for destination attractiveness today? And what do they catalyze in terms of lasting transformations?
So hi everybody. Thank you for having us. Mega events are key for transformation. It's just not the event itself. It allows destinations, cities, regions to transform, to give a better legacy to the residents in terms, for example, of public transportation. As you can see, for those who were here last year, for the Olympic Games, we opened the new station, the 14-line metro station at Orly Airport. So we actually connecting airports directly to the center of the city. And so there's a lot of different things that we can manage with great events. One thing is, and Pierre is right here, is we create a team, regardless of what politics. Of course, politics are important, but regardless of what politics and under what flag you're driving, everybody gets into one team. And Pierre was more than the locomotion of the Olympic Games for the Paris city, and we were for the region. And it gets people to work together, one of the legacies that we can have with that is that people keep on working together afterwards, even though maybe their own executive branches are not together and are not under the same color. And this is what huge events like the World Cup in 2023, the Rugby World Cup, and of course the Olympic and Paralympic Games brought to us. So transformation for the residents and people working together under one flag, which was the Paris 2024 flag.
Collaboration seems to be one of those keywords that keeps popping up in each and every session. So maybe just a quick question. How many of us here in the room have attended any of the Olympic Games events last year, just by a show of hands? In Paris, yes. Okay, great. But in terms of spiked up demand, what sort of pressures were there on different elements when it comes to the city?
Well, in terms of organizing the promotion of the destination in order to receive tourists, the pressure was that everything was flawless, and we had to give the best experience. I think Pierre had more pressure than me in regards of delivering Olympic Games, but what we had to do in terms of an agency that promotes the destination was that the customer experience, the visitor's experience when they come into the destination had to be just perfect. We operate the desk informations, the information that's at the airports, and therefore we were the first touch point, human touch point, because I think we're going to talk about tech later on, but we were the first human touch point for people coming in the destination. And this is, and this was key to give the best experience. I used to say last year that, of course, a lot of press, international press, were saying that Paris region is always a problem when they're welcoming, the bartender, the waiter doesn't bring you the right coffee at the right time. That we would have a lot of press that would be against the Olympic Games, especially the press that did not have access to the Olympic sites. So they wandered around and they were going to give right papers on the tourist, the visitor experience in the destination. And we had with the tourism office of Paris, we had a response team to be able to respond to the press that would write these kind of articles. And actually, we didn't even have one to do. I mean, everything was the experience. I think that for those who were here last year for the Olympic Games was just, let's not say perfect. Nobody's perfect, but it was a great experience for everybody that came.
As perfect and as it can be, I guess. But yeah, everyone, I think, being here and just watching felt that there was a huge amount of collaboration getting this afloat. So thank you. So Pierre, if I want to talk about sustainability and what these kinds of events has in terms of impact, what do you think from your perspective was the single most decisive strategic shift enabling Paris to deliver such a significant event with much lower emissions and broader inclusions for everyone?
Hi everyone, thank you for that question. Happy to be here with you and Christophe to try to explain what we try to do. I don't know if you experimented, but for answer your question, maybe the first thing was the concept and the definition of the Paris 2024 games we want to deliver and we want to achieve. And one of the important points was especially to being able to make it going down the sustainability impact and carbon print impact. So in that way, we try to define how many venues we have to build, what kind of building we are doing, and we will use it after games as a legacy program. And that's what the starting of the definition of what was the bid before and what became the objective of delivering these games, so those games. So it was not easy because we anticipate a lot of things, but we are not able to anticipate the COVID, I have to say. And we are not able to anticipate the war in Ukraine. We put maximum tension on the works, and especially on delivering steel in Europe. So we had many things to manage during the year before the games, but we keep going on two major points where being able to be ready on 2024, and that's a specific aspect of the games that you cannot push the date of delivery. You cannot being ready in 2025, it's too late, and you have to do it trying to keep the ambition you have, especially on the sustainability. So we build less, we build just what we need for after games, not only for the games, and especially here in Paris with all the stakeholders, and Christophe mentioned it, but it was a key of success. We put a lot of time to build a team around Paris 2024, and finally we were able to achieve it because this team, despite all the differences we can have, wants to succeed to deliver that game. Not game we change on the last 3 years because we had problems. Every project has problems, and we need to find solutions. So in a sustainability way, we build less, and we put everyday aspect in the delivery on the IOC family, athlete experience, spectator experience, especially, for example, 100% of public transportation for all the spectators. Finally, it was like 80, 85, but we work on 100%. And that's why the key to achieve the success of reducing the carbon print.
Yeah, footprint. If I want to zoom in on the whole issue of venues and the different ideas that came up during the Paris Olympics, like what impact did this have on the sort of investment decisions that needed to be taken, or maybe on the community buy-in on certain changes in terms of setting up these different temp venues?
Two main things on the hard venue, if I can say, on what we built for keeping it the venue as it was during the games for after games, to being able to make a kind of laboratory of new technology and new things that we can still develop after the games. And it was the case especially for the Village Olympique, who are 50% less carbon print than any other building we are making actually. And it's became a kind of laboratory of all around the world, people coming and try to see what we did, to being able to duplicate it in their own country, to learn from exactly. And second point was to being able to deliver temporary venue, especially in the center city, because it was the bet we made. And this temporary venue has to taking care of the environment where they are implement, like Champ de Mars or Place de la Concorde, very patrimonial places. So we need to take care of that and using it as probably unique games we can do in Paris. So after you will have a great place to welcome games in the future, like LA or Brisbane, or I don't know what will be the next for summer, but it will not be the same games. So IOC understand in the same way that they have to make improve the adaptation capacity for welcoming the game in Paris will not be the same in Paris than it will be in LA, that it will be maybe in India in the future or in Africa, or I don't know where. So this was a lot of negotiation with IOC, I have to confess now, but I think it was a key success for everyone, for Paris and for the IOC, and for the success of that game in Paris in the way we would like to deliver it.
Correct. I think Paris definitely raised the bar when it comes to venues that can be used for events or opening ceremonies and what have you. So yeah, that definitely left a mark with everyone. Now, for destinations hosting such events, usually there are concerns, whether it's from a public policy standpoint or from a destination attractiveness perspective. A question to you both: what two top concerns did you take into account when it came to the planning part of the Olympics?
Yeah, maybe the first point, and I think everybody here knows that, but when you welcome such a big event, it could be the same, but it's the biggest we never organize in France and the biggest you have to organize in the world. But when you have that, you need to manage many things, especially when your concept for the opening ceremony, for example, here, use the River Seine, organizing that has impact, okay? Because you make works, you make security zones, and it has many consequences. So the year of the events is not the best one for the destination. We knew that before. We knew that 2024 will be a little bit difficult for a part of film or people making tourism like every day. But our bet, common bet, were to imagine that the success of the games could be really positive impact in the future for the destination. And I think we can say that it's happened now for the year after. So the organization were difficult. I have to, and you know that. And Christophe spoke about the media negative way we had, especially the year before. But I have to confess, it was for me especially on the national press. International press was a little bit different because they had questions because there is no comparison. You cannot say that London in 2012 had that way to do, and it will be the same in Paris, because we was not able to making any comparison, because there is no concept like that before. So it was really difficult on that way. But finally, our bet was to say, if we succeed in what we try to achieve, it will be magnificent for the destination. And I could really happy to hear what is the position of the panel here. But I think it's the case, actually.
Christophe, you want to weigh in on that?
Sure.
With few concerns?
For us, the most important thing in our domain was the experience. It was how people would be welcomed in the destination, how people would have been how do you say, brought to see, to visit different things. We know when you have Olympic Games in a city, in a city or in a destination, everything is done so that the public stays, because there's a lot of sponsors. I mean, it's everybody understands how the Olympic Games work, and so what we wanted to achieve was that to bring people outside of the Olympic sites after the games and to visit what we wanted them to see. Most of the people, maybe it was the first time to come, the long haul customers that used to come to that don't used to come to Paris. They came for the Olympic Games, so we had to bring them maybe outside also of Paris to visit different things. We had last year the 150th anniversary of the Impressionism, and so we had a whole package where people could, after the games, they could visit from the Musée d'Orsay going up to Vers-sur-Oise, different things that they in terms of Impressionism. So that was key for us, was how the visitors would be happier when they left the destination because of all the experience, of course, with the Olympic Games, and what would happen after the Olympic Games. One of our big periods where we actually watched how the people were reacting post-Olympic and Paralympic Games was from September to December, and to see how the incoming volumes and value that came to the destination was moving up or down. People would come back to Paris
because of the impact that it created.
Exactly, and the impact was actually very good after the Olympic Games. And we have to say that apart from half of June to the beginning of the Games, which was a period where people didn't come to Paris because they knew there was going to be a lot of constructions and set up for the Olympic Games. The rest of the year was actually
it made it up, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably another point was that people behind the screen or here in Paris discover the city and the region on another side that they had in mind, or they think they could discover Paris. So we have, I don't know, 5 big points, Notre Dame, Sacré-Cœur, Louvre, everything like that. But there is many other things to discover in the region. And we want to promote that. That's the evolution. And I think the experience we had during the Games need to help us to propose a better experience for tourism in the future. So we are working on that, actually. But it was a great exercise, if I can say, to organize the Games on that way and have a better understanding of what could be tomorrow the tourism experience in Paris region.
Yeah, I hear you. And Christophe, I know you leverage technology a lot during the Olympic Games. You're talking about crowd management, you're talking about visitor flows, as you both rightfully just explained, the distribution, the equitable distribution of people in the city, tracking first-time visitors maybe to repeat. How did you leverage all of that, and what lessons did you learn from it?
Well, the issue is how, because it's something that people are talking about, and press mostly for the past couple of years, is over-tourism. And there's some destinations that have over-tourism, and the Paris region doesn't have over-tourism. What we have is sometimes some peak of affluence in some museums at a certain period of the year. That doesn't mean that we don't have to challenge that and do everything possible so that the whole destination is not hit by over-tourism. So the best way of doing it is using, of course, technology. So we have apps that, once you're in the destination, connects you to the area. It geolocalizes you, so it gives you ideas of what to visit. Of course, when you come to Paris, you always want to see the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, Versailles. But the thing that we need to be capable of is saying, don't go to the Eiffel Tower at 9 in the morning because that's where the crowd is. Go at noon. These are examples. Don't go at noon. It's just an example. And but it's easy to say that, but we have to tell people what to do from 9 to noon when they're, okay, we're not going to go to the Eiffel Tower at 9, we'll go at noon, but what you propose that we do, and that's how you regulate, and that's how the tech will regulate people, and by being inspirational and giving ideas of what to visit in different ways in the destination. And one thing that we do is we use precise marketing, and the precise marketing is how we talk to customers and visitors before they actually book a trip to Paris.
So depending where they're coming from.
Exactly. Everybody comes to see, let's take the point that everybody comes to see the Eiffel Tower, okay. But a Mexican and a New Yorker will come to visit the Eiffel Tower, but they will not do the same path, digital path, and once they're here, they have different other, one is more cultural, and is going to be looking more cultural. The other is maybe more into the gastronomy. I mean, these are just examples. Yeah. And the thing is, if you want to regulate and try to get the flow going all over the destination and not at one spot at one time, is through the tech and to understand the center of interest of the customers even before they book.
That's interesting. So we're on the last few minutes. I'm just going to ask one final question. What sort of advice would you give to future Olympic host cities with similar urban density to Paris? Like, what's the one thing that you would advise them on?
I'd say to hire Pierre. Maybe maybe you should go to LA.
The difficult question, because as I told you, even if they have the same density, it's not going to be exactly the same that it was in Paris, because we use our history, for example, our patrimonial buildings, etc. But I think you have to define, firstly, a project that's called, I don't know, underline the destination you have. That's the first things. I hope they have ambition in the way of sustainability and the way of increasing the local people. It was one part of our big success. I don't know if you know that, but we had 26 fan zones all around Paris during the Olympics and Paralympics, because we keep it at the opening of the Olympics until the end of Paralympics. So even if people are not able to go in and having tickets, because we break the record of selling tickets, but you don't have enough for everyone because it's a world demand.
They can go to the fan zones.
They can go and have a specific experience, and they don't have just negative experience of works before, of many people arriving close to their home and disturbing them, etc. So you need to bring them in the experience, and it was really positive for us. And finally, maybe use the games and use the masses, the big events, to accelerate what you want to do as evolution of your city. That's another important example. And I think I just come back from Seoul. I was in Seoul last week, and we have exchanged with all the cities who welcomed the games in the past and probably some in the future. And we just talk about that, how you can bring people, local people, all together with you. And just 2 days ago, there is a vote in Munich. I don't know if you saw that. But finally, people are really positive on the way to welcome. And I think Paris has a key turning on that point. Because before that, all the democratic country, all the population were against that. Because now they give another flow, another positive experience. So my advice could be just make your own games and take care of what the people want, and just final answer on that. What we are challenging as tourism now in the big cities, and we can see that not only in Paris, that we have a positive attractivity, I think, now, especially after the games. But we need to manage it with technology probably, and with politics sometimes, to being able to bring the better experience you can have as tourism, but not put tourism against people living there. So that's probably the key in the future.
And Christophe?
Yeah, I completely agree with what Pierre just said. I'll add two things. First thing is the planning at the beginning. It's a 10-year, 12-year program that before you deliver the games, we've been working on it. So personally, I worked on it since 2015. And first of all, plan, and you have to think from the beginning what legacy you want to give. What legacy you want to give to the residents, because what Pierre is saying is right, is that we have to get the citizens and the people living in the destination that will host the Olympic Games, you have to bring them aboard, but you have to give a promise, and you have to keep that promise. And the promises that we had and that we kept for Paris 2024 was, first of all, that it was green, really was green. We had public transportation today, and there's still constructions going on, but today you have new metro lines, new public transportation. We have 1,000 hydrogen taxis that are going around Paris. So the thing is, the legacy is key. To answer the question is, what do we recommend to the cities? And the next one is LA, is what do you want the city to look like for the people living in Los Angeles, and what's the promise, and to do everything you can to keep that promise, because then everybody living there will be happy of what happened in their city.
Thank you so much. Yes, last
just
words.
a final word, sorry, but because I'm just watching a world for travel, it's calling like that, but it's exactly what we want to do when you host the biggest event in the world. You want to welcome the world, and that's exactly what you're doing, what you want to promote your destination. You want to welcome the world in the good way, for sure, but what we were able to create is to create a common moment and share moment all together, and like with all people come from the world, and that's a positive thing.